Welcome to Origin Stories. I'm RD.
I'm Parrot.
We're telling stories behind the digital art revolution.
Each week we interview top artists
and live stream with the community.
Let's go. Today is tomorrow's origin story.
Raf Grassetti, welcome to Origin Stories.
Oh, thanks for having me.
This is like, what a moment to record an origin story during, right? Because usually it's about going all the way back, which we will go all the way back and tell your story. But I just want to say, as we jump off here, crazy time. I mean, Nifty Gateway, Christie's, just prior to that SuperRare. I mean, we'll get into all that stuff, but it's fun to be sitting here during all of this. So thank you for taking the time.
Oh yeah, man. No, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy week, and crazy past couple months. It's been, very, just a lot to take in. So it's been very, very fun and interesting. So yeah, I think it's a great time for us to chat too. I've been listening and watching all the origin stories you've done over the past couple months, I guess. Like, how far back does it go?
To January. Yeah.
This year has been flying by. So yeah, thanks for having me.
For sure. And so, Raf, we'll get to all the current craziness, but let's go back now and ask the big question: what is your origin story?
My origin story, yeah, I've told this story many times, and it kind of changes every time I tell my story, because you end up like shortening some of like moments that like take forever. But I'm from Brazil. I grew up and moved out of Brazil. I moved to Canada. Well, let me go back. I don't want to skip parts, but I've been into arts for my whole life, my whole career, and I got into clay sculpting back in Brazil with some of like what we call masters like Cicero and Alex Oliver. They're like big names in Brazil in traditional and digital sculpting. Kind of transition into digital, but I'll get there. I got into traditional sculpting with clay and because I got into character creation mostly because of movies like Jurassic Park and all the movies that we love. And I got, I started studying that craft, and I quickly moved into digital when ZBrush started to come out. And that's 15 years ago, maybe 17 years ago. And I quickly got into production industry back home, because it was just kind of, it was kind of like that boom of the industry where CG was really starting to kick in, and I could make a quick buck in digital. So I worked very young. I got my first job when I was 16 to 17 in a big production house back in Brazil, working advertising. And that was really my school. Like, I learned a lot. I didn't actually go to any art school. I did go to art school when I was working, but I didn't finish. But that was really my big school, like learning in the job, crazy deadlines, production house, just nonstop. So I stayed there for 2 to 3 years, and I quickly built up a little bit of a portfolio with digital sculpting back then. And I got some attention from like big toy studios and cinematic studios. Like, at that time, games were kind of like starting to grow. And so I started working remotely from Brazil to companies like Hasbro and Plastic Wax and Ubisoft. So just doing characters like from home. And that was really fun. But I've always wanted to move out of Brazil, go, experience the industry, where it really is, like in the US. So I actually moved out. I went to Canada to work at BioWare. I got some really good offers to move down there and work with some really cool projects. I work at, Mass Effect and a little bit more of a sci-fi kind of genre, because I was building my portfolio to that. And that was amazing. That was one of the best experiences I had. And when I was in Canada, I was in talks with Sony to move to the US. And so when the project finished, I ended up moving to the US. I came to the US as a character supervisor at that time. And that's like 9 years ago, 9 years ago. And I've been working with Sony since then. I've been at Sony, kind of moved up, if you could say it, like working so many different projects. And it's been a fantastic experience. I love what I do, at Sony. But at the same time, I've always been building my own portfolio, like, improving my craft, doing what I wanted to do, because, work is work. And I always have that kind of spark of what I want to do. And from all these years, and I went a little bit more into the comics, because I'm a big fan of comics. I've done a lot of just traditional sculpting and really pushing the craft on digital sculpting. So, it's been maybe in the past couple of years that I've really doubled down on social media, just because I saw a little niche there that I could fill and, kind of push the craft and push my work out there and get more gigs in like comic books and start doing covers for comics. So I've been all over the place, as you could probably tell. And because I love so many different things. And I think I've always want to express myself with the tools that I've learned throughout all these years, which I think it's a little bit different. I've been trying to, speed up my pipeline, because I think there's this misconception about 3D where, everything just takes so long, and you're always part of that second part of production. It's not so much of a creative job. It's like the concept artist will do the drawing and the 3D guy will execute it. And I think because of the tools being developed and being improved throughout all these years, it's kind of shifting a little bit, right? You see all these guys, amazing guys, that are now getting the exposure that they need. They should have got for all these years. They finally get this creative output and creative exposure, where I think when I saw that, to me, it was like, yes, this is finally happening,
So it's finally happening now, but let's go back real quick, because I have a question.
Yeah. Sorry, I just jumped through all this.
No, this is good. You took us through the whole trajectory there. Let's go back to Brazil, and let's go back to Hasbro and character creation. So I honed in on that, and I'm always interested in these formative moments. Can you take us through maybe one or two characters that you recall very clearly, because maybe they were milestones for you, maybe they were particularly meaningful, maybe they advanced your skill set in some way?
Oh yeah, it's a great question, because when you first, especially working from, as a freelancer, or working, from a remote outside of the US, or, this, like Brazil, for example, you always think you know a lot, but you're always kind of scared of knowing that you know nothing, right? So to me, it's always that feeling, especially when I came to the US, it's like, man, I know so much, but I know nothing. And when you first get into the deeps of like production, you'd be like, yeah, you just feel like a small little ant, but then you kind of, grow into this whale, if you say. But yeah, for Hasbro, I remember my first piece when I got this Wolverine character, and it has like all these articulations, because I was used to sculpt something on, like in an action pose or just as a statue. But when you get a toy that has like 17 articulation points, and you'd be like, how the hell I'm going to do this? How am I going to pull this off? Do I tell them I don't know what I'm doing? Do I just figure it out? Like how to, and thankfully through all my career, I've been always, I have no problem asking for help, and it's just learning, right? And that was, I learned so much with just that job of like learning how to do articulations. And I've been teaching throughout my whole career as well, and trying to share that knowledge, the knowledge that I couldn't find anywhere. It's just, I'll just put it out there. And that's why, the YouTube channel or like little things like that happens, like the online school. But yeah, for Hasbro, I think first job, it wasn't actually the first job, but one of the ones that really I remember is just a Wolverine, super simple toy that had a bunch of articulation points, and it was nuts. But good thing that they have a lot of specifications that you just have to work with, and you just end up doing the job. But I did a bunch of like very, kind of, I still have those toys, and my son plays with them, but just Wolverine, a Marvel line of these like Funko style type of characters. I got one Spider-Man that had like crazy articulations that I kind of failed on the job. But yeah, there's many that I still remember. I still have them. I still have them to this day.
That's amazing. I appreciate that juxtaposition. You have that air of humbleness about you, right? Like you even alluded to feeling like an ant and then eventually growing. But then there's also that very clear confidence that, like you said, I have no problem asking for help. I have no problem learning and growing and improving. That's really interesting to me. I think it's a good mixture of skill sets to not get too overconfident, but also to have that like steely-eyed resolve to get something done.
Totally. And that's what I look for when I, now that I'm hiring for a big team, that's what I look for. You don't have to know stuff. And that's why and ask a tricky question that you don't know when I'm interviewing. You just ask like, how would I do it? Right. Like it just shows that you want to learn. And I've been like that throughout my whole career, and there's no problem with that. Like you just get better.
Yeah, it's a great attribute. All right, so So walk us forward now closer to the present day. I just wanted to go all the way back there. I love that you say Wolverine. Wolverine was near and dear to my own childhood, so that's good. Now walk us through to closer to present day, where you're now aboard Sony for quite some time and doing some amazing stuff. Actually, let's touch on that for a second. Want to take us through some God of War days or anything else that comes to your mind there?
Yeah, it's been a crazy challenge and crazy ride for sure. And funny you said Wolverine. Like I've been doing Wolverine throughout my whole career. It's funny because even at Sony, I still do like statue work for Sideshow and some of these a little more high end companies where I just did a Wolverine like a couple of years ago, and it's been kind of like a theme throughout my career. And maybe because I just love him. If I see one, I'll be like, yeah, I'll take the job. I'll do it. I still haven't done a Wolverine cover yet, but maybe that will come. But yeah, and the Sony, I was very fortunate that when I got into the job, it was a studio where we were doing services for a bunch of other Sony studios. Mm-hmm. So I got to touch on and work with different studios, and it was like an amazing learning experience for me, and just seeing a little bit of different pipelines and understand how the industry actually works and be exposed. Because usually when you go to one studio, you're like a religion and you're into that pipeline and you just have to learn how that works. But because when I moved in, I went to VASG, which is a little bit of an outsourcing for Sony. And I got to touch on many different pipelines. And that was an amazing experience. And that's how I ended up at Sony Santa Monica, because I ended up working with them and I became friends with a director from the studio. And then they invited me to come to the studio. And that's how that whole transition happened. And then since then at Sony, I've been working with God of War, the franchise, for the past 7 years, and it was an amazing project. I think I was very lucky to be at that right time and work with the right people, and the project was extremely successful. And we're working on the next one. It's been fun. I can't talk much about it, as you probably can tell, but it's been very rewarding and amazing. I can't wait for people to see what we're doing.
Amazing. I mean, the quality there speaks for itself. That's my theme of Raf Grassetti, is that, right? You can see your involvement over there, and then obviously now what we'll get to is your own artwork and entry into the NFT and crypto art space. But the quality really does speak for itself. So take us through. You are obviously very successful. You're part of Sony. You're part of this incredible franchise within Sony. And how do you first see what an NFT is and then make a decision to take that leap?
Man, yeah. It's been so maybe like a couple months ago, but it's just everything is like so cloudy at this point. Yeah. Because there's so much happening, which is awesome. But on the Sony part, it's all about like the teamwork, right? And I'm very fortunate, and I think I was lucky enough to pick the right teams and work with them and make sure everything felt right. Because when it doesn't feel right, I just move on. Mm-hmm. And I've done that throughout my whole career of like, it just, I can do more and I'll move on. And I think the reason why I'm at Sony for so long is because it just feels right. I'm learning. It's fulfilling. I think I'm on the right place. So, and like I said, the product speaks for itself, right? Because everybody loves what they do. So, but I've always done personal work, like I said, throughout, it doesn't matter where I am. I'm always making stuff because I know I can improve my craft, and I know I can look for stuff outside of what I'm doing on a day-to-day that can help me, become a better person, become a better artist. And that's what I've been doing for all these years. I never stopped. And even my wife tells me that I'm crazy, but yeah, I just, that's how I get my kick, and it's been fantastic. So when like I said, I've been to the social media kind of zone for the past couple of years, and trying to grow my social media just because I saw that I could do more with what's inside here. And I think one of the reasons why I started that was because of BossLogic. I know you know him.
Yeah.
And he's a good friend as well. And he is, he's the type of guy who pushes outside of the comfort zone, right? Like where people in this industry have a specific idea of what the industry is. And we can go into that as well. But, there's, like I said, there's a lot of a production mindset where people get into the entertainment industry because we love what's out there. We love Marvel movies, all that stuff. We love it. We want to be a part of it. But then they forget about the craft and what they can do in their own time and how they can push themselves as an artist. So I think there's those two zones, and I found myself really into the production side of things, and I wanted to experience a little bit more of having fun and just doing for more people to experience it, for more people to enjoy it. And I think BossLogic does a good job at that. And I think he, you can call him like what was the fan artist? Well, I think when someone called me a fan artist, I texted him, I was like, dude, what is this? Like, what does that mean? And he's like, yeah, this is like a thing people say. It's like, whatever, that doesn't make sense. But yeah, just creating for fun and for more people to experience your art. Like, that's kind of what he does best. And I think that's why he has such a big following. And I don't want to have that, the BossLogic path, but I just saw that I could do more. So I started doing a lot of the stuff my own way and finding things that I loved and mixing with a little bit of a different take on what has been done before, because what we do takes time. Like 3D takes time. It's a lot more, it's a craft that takes a lot more effort, just, to just get something that looks decent. And I've been kind of building, and sorry, I'm like, I'll go back to your question, but I've been building my pipeline through all these years to be faster and put out work faster. And I build like a social media strategy to like build up a little chunk of work and put it out, because that's something I learned at game development, of like building a marketing strategy and putting out chunks of contents to like, get exposure, through a chunk, and then slow down and get another chunk. So I did that, and I grew my channel really fast when I started doing it. I think because of my exposure in the game industry as well, and I was doing stuff related to the game industry and kind of end up, kind of helping with my name. But anyways, going back to your question, on the NFT side, I saw some of the guys. I think Billelis was one of the guys that have always messaged me and helped me throughout. Like, I think I helped him a little bit, but he helped me more than I helped him throughout all these years, even before all this NFT stuff, or just dealing with work and social media and how to how to put your work out there. And I think when he started doing it, to me, it was like a sign that I should probably look into it, because I know if he was into it, probably there's something there, because I know he's very methodical and thoughtful about what he's doing. And I saw BossLogic doing as well, but I asked him, I reached out, but I know he's like very much just out there. He's like, he'll be the first one to do it for sure, because he is always like, future thinking. So, which is awesome. But I think when Billelis did it, to me, it was like a good sign. And I was into crypto before, surprisingly. I started like last year looking into it just as an investment, and kind of like looking at, you start making a little bit more money, you look into other investments, and the stock market wasn't the great. So I think crypto was the next thing for me, and thankfully I was into it, and it wasn't as scary for me to jump in, because I was already looking into it a couple months ago. And when I did, it was surprisingly that I just pull a lot more people with me from the industry. And when that boom happened, when I sold my first piece, my Genesis, everybody was like, what the heck? Like, what? Like, we can do this too. And you just saw just a flood of artists come in.
It was a crazy time. All right, a number of comments. First, I love the two names that you mentioned. So the first name, BossLogic, shout out to Code. It's an interesting, you kind of blew my mind there, where I thought about your expertise, your experience, what you've done in industry with Sony, and your expression of personal artwork. And that made me think a little different, but still similar, what Boss has done with a lot of his movie work and with some people's fan art, whatever we want to call it, right? And then plenty of his incredible original artwork. That comparison really resonated with me. And then the second name, of course, near and dear, Billelis, big shout out there. It's interesting that you saw his entry, and then that was an earmarker for you of like, oh, there's probably something here to explore. So first want to shout out those two names, and then your Genesis piece. This occupies a special place in my heart. Not a special place in my collection, because I was not that lucky at the time, but I was in there. I was in the mix. Definitely saw it. So it was over on Foundation, right? It was CryptoHistory #1. It was the sculpture of Beeple.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, that one is it was probably a mark, and just because of everything that was going on, and I think like we all know, Mike Beeple, he has been extremely successful and a mark to the market or the industry as we call it. And I've been friends with him and follow him for a couple of years now, and he's been very open and a good friend of like giving me advice and talking, and I'm extremely grateful for everything that he's done for me so far. And to me, like when so I saw his drop on Nifty, the first one, when he did the whole infinity objects and all that crazy stuff. It was like, that's cool, like that's cool, but that's him, right? That's like what he does. And like he did the thing with the hair, and it was like, yeah, it's awesome. Like he's trying to find his voice there. And I saw it. I remember just talking to a friend and be like, man, this is crazy. It's awesome. But I didn't know what NFT was at that time. It was just cool because he was selling him his art as a package, right? That's what it looked like for me. And then when it just kept going on and just kept going bigger and bigger, and when the NFT, the whole thing started, and I was like, kind of wrap my hand around it. It was like, yeah, this just makes sense. But my first piece, I actually had that whole collection almost done when I put that one out. And again, it was just because of that what I told you about the social media and applying those things into what's happening. And the cool thing to me about NFT is, like, I think even Gary talks a lot about, and I watch your podcast with him as well, and he talked about, like, it just feels right. Everything that he's been building through this point, just combining into what's happening now. And to me, it's been the whole social media planning and how to attack it and how do I market myself with the art, just combining those two and just felt right. So when I did that first piece, I had the idea of like the crypto history and just seeing what was out there as well, and how I could make an impact talking to the customers, if you say, not so much the customers, but the and not even the collectors, but talking to the people who are into this industry, right? I don't know what we call them. You can call them the collectors, but not everybody's a collector. It's just
like community enthusiasts.
Yeah, the community, exactly. And then how do I, talk to them, and how do I get people to just be interested to what I'm doing, and not just put in art that I felt it was impressive. I think I would have the right time to do that. Mm-hmm. But at first, the first thing I wanted to put out there is just something for the community to appreciate. And to me, that's and then mixing the craft, that's part of that. So that's how I did the whole bus, the lineup of the bus with the people that I looked up to and I learned from, and ended up putting like one by one. Go ahead.
How do you choose the names there? How do you choose the figures? I mean, it looks like there's some cohesion there. These are obviously names that exist even beyond just the artists. You have Mark Cuban in there, you have Snoop Dogg in there towards the tail end. But yeah, how do you select the names?
Yeah, it's all about me though. It's all about what I have exposure to, and the people who helped me get to where I was at that point. So that's why like Beeple is in there, of course, is like the first one. And then the other ones, I don't want to call all the names, but you look through all the people, they're all the ones that kind of influenced and kind of triggered something to change my mindset. And that's why Phil is in there, Fewocious is in there, because he had that boom, and to me it was like, holy shit, like who's this kid and what's happening and just everything. And he's an amazing person. I was like, yeah, he's got to be in there. So I didn't care so much about who was going to buy it and what was, it was just more about the community. Like what to me is being important there. And I do want to explain on that in the future. And I think I'm getting to that point where I can put out more pieces in that collection, but it was just a natural for me, easy choices into like the lineup.
You know what's funny, man? Again, it goes back to a juxtaposition, like your social media strategy, but also somehow remaining authentic in the process, right? It's this juxtaposition, because sometimes someone can get lost in a social media strategy and just sort of look for constantly the thing that will hit, the thing that will hit, the thing that will hit. And sometimes you see people lose themselves because they're so busy reaching for the current event or the topic or the thing to talk about. It loses that personal attachment. But what I'm hearing from you is that you're aware of how you put yourself out there, but the decisions are easy for you because you're still managing to remain authentic and grounded in what contributed to you, your friends, your beliefs.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I have it's more about a long-term plan, and to me, it's just more just sticking to it. So that's why after that, I started putting out more complex pieces, and now I'm gonna put out more complex pieces. So it's just more building up to, because it's one thing to like burn all your cards into the one impressive piece and just get X amount of exposure, right? And then you get frustrated, be like, and I have so many friends that have done that, and I think you can get jobs like that into the industry. But building up for a social platform, you have to like, capture the audience first, to then put up something that can have more reach when you're ready. And I think to me is that, I think we're still halfway through that plan, but it's getting there.
So halfway through that plan, I can't wait to see what is coming. So walk us through the next steps. So you have this crypto history collection on Foundation. You've since taken steps on SuperRare, Nifty, and then Christie's. And so take us anywhere you want to on that road. But what were you thinking each step of the way, and where do we find ourselves today?
Yeah. The one thing that is just not in there, that to me is probably one of the more meaningful ones, is the DontBuyMeme collection, which is
You're so right. Yeah.
It's a smaller community. Maybe it's hard to tell at this point from like everything that's been going on, but to me that one just speaks so much to what I've done through all these years. And when I first saw that, and shout out to Amir as well, because he was the one who gave me a little hint of like, just you should do this. And Amir, again, just to touch on that, sidebar into, like, he's been extremely supportive and a great mentor into all this. And I'm very thankful to like everything that he's done for me since day one. Like, he is the first guy who was there, and I didn't even know he was following me, before all this, but he's been amazing. So shout out to him, very thankful. But he was the one who kind of, put that little spark into curiosity of like, you look into this. I think they're going to do well. The community is great. And he was right. To me, I was building up the style, and just to talk on the style real quick. Well, I think a lot of artists that are thinking to get into this from the production side of things, and people who are not into the NFT right now, I think there's this kind of like, oh, I just need to find my style. I just need to do something new, because people have been working in production for so long, and they know they can do it. They have the skill, but the creative side is something very different, right? And that's why you see frustration sometimes. And to me, also coming into this, it was like, now it's time for me to do a style that I haven't done before, because the audience is different, the community is different. I'm not trying to appeal to the entertainment industry. It's just more, how can I express myself now that it's not, Wolverine or Marvel? It's like, things that we know and love. So I think the DontBuyMeme, it was something that I was working on before. I've always wanted to do like stuff with animals and the internet kind of like viral thing. And to me, it was just, you fit like a glove. Like, I got to do this, and now it's the time. So that collection was awesome. The community was amazing. I think I was lucky that at that time I had a bigger knowledge of like what the NFT could do, and what the community is, and how do we build it. And, with rewards and little hints there, and hidden secrets with like the bird ones with the verified. It is a verified, like that piece was going for 0.01 ETH. It was like nothing, right? But whoever got it, like, you're verified, you could have perks in the future. And we're kind of building up on that. And it's been super fun. Like, that to me, it's something that most people don't have awareness to this point. Maybe they will in the future, but it's something that can be done within the industry that's just rewarding for the collector and for the artist as well. Is building that community is amazing, right? And having that support. So that one to me is probably the more meaningful one. I did do a drop with Ethernity. That was the big one with Ali. And that was just a mark, just because working with a figure like Muhammad Ali is like very meaningful for me. That was awesome too. Support from the Ethernity folks it was really cool. And the other ones were already lined up. So it's been a really busy couple months, because I was working on stuff for, months ahead. And the SuperRare was a nightmare to get in. I just want to put that out there, because I know a lot of people struggle with getting into the platform. But very thankful for the guys from, oh my God, the name that's very hard to pronounce. RTK. What's
It's Artifact Studios.
Artifact. There you go. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And I give Chris shit about that all the time. But yeah, Artifact, they're very helpful, you know, to put me in contact with the guys from SuperRare. So I got into that, and that to me is just something that a little bit of a corner where I want to be very mindful to what I put there. I want to keep that a little more impressive for the future. So the pieces that I'm putting there are, you know, the ones that have a lot of meaningful. Not that the other pieces don't have meaning, but it's something that a little more thought out and have a lot of deeper meaning to what I'm feeling through the moments of time. So that collection's been, you know, awesome. And the website, the platform too. I think all the collectors are in there. So that's been fun. But then, you know, jumping real fast to SuperRare, and then not SuperRare, Nifty now, yesterday, very recent. That was fantastic. Like I did not expect that to go so well. And I think Nifty was very mindful of like prices and what we're putting out there, and the moment that we're living in now, and, you know, looking after the collectors and the community. And the community is, you know, the secondary sales have been crazy. And I'm just happy that people are getting, you know, some profit through all this, which is, I think this is what kind of, at least that platform, but Nifty, that's kind of what's about. So that's been really cool. And then Christie's. So sorry, we're just rushing through this.
Blitzing everything, right?
Yeah.
You know what's interesting though? It's I really appreciate the level of thought that you give to each unique platform and each unique expression of your work. Just hearing you double back on DontBuyMeme, Ethernity, SuperRare, and hearing you describe it. It's like there are meaningful people involved in each step of the way. And then there are ways that you approach each that seems unique to the experience. That's, to me, that's very gratifying to hear. Like I enjoy that, hearing an artist put that level of thought into those forms of expression, and sort of like paths for each. Going back even to Foundation, your Genesis piece, and then on down the 8 pieces. The fact that you had most of them created when you dropped the first one, that's that level of thought, right? And that's that you mentioned game production and just being aware of that, even the marketing piece, and just like putting bits out there, letting people into that process, and then and stretching that out. Yeah, a lot's happened, and yet it all seems thought out.
But you know, it's not so much about, it's not just me, right? There's like a lot of help from the collectors as well. Like I've been, and that's probably something with the strategy as well. Not to call it strategy, but just being smart to what's going on. Because it's not about me, right? It's about the community, everything else that's going on. So I've been listening to what people are saying. I've been asking for people who know more than I do. Like, so I could shout out, like, you know, a lot of artists here. But, you know, probably the ones that we all know and love, like, you know. But they've been very helpful. I don't want to like be shouting out now, but they know who they are. And they've been helping me through all this. And I've been asking questions. Like when I got into SuperRare, I asked many questions to a lot of people. I was like, what, you know, recommendations, like what should I do? Things that you've done before that you wouldn't do it now. Like, and then same thing for collectors. Like there's so many collectors that help me because they know what the platform is about and they know like what they're looking for. And I'm trying to do my own thing, but also make sure I fit with the future, right? Like with where it's going. So that I don't want to just be focused on, hey, I can make an amazing sculpture and I'll be the best or whatever. No, this is about like, how do I help with my craft? So how do I help to get more exposure? How do I help to get it out there? Because I want to do stuff that sparks something with people. And I think that's why the Lady Justice, for example, it's not just about a cool, like, you know, kind of classical Greek sculpture that looks amazing. No, there's meaning behind that. And to me, like I said, and you can read on the essay too, is like, what am I feeling? How I'm trying to represent what I'm trying to understand, so I can help people also see what other people are seeing, or what other collectors or investors and all these people are trying. What do they see with this movement that I understood? That I want to try to put it out there for people, right? And to me, that's why that piece is meaningful. And I think some of the other pieces have the same type of approach. If you look at the first one, the first SuperRare piece, was the boy with the old man. To me, is like the past and the future, try to make you understand what is this, and you're the old ways, struggling to like make sense of it. But there's that, you know, change happening, right? And the same thing for the Lady Justice. This is about the future. How do we make it a better place for our children? So that's why the Nifty, the drop is like, it is about or the next generation? What am I doing to my kids?
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to leave to them, and to them to understand is like the moment that I'm living, and how do I represent? So, and we'll see what's next. I think we're all, at least myself, I'm always like jumping into like, what is the next message? What do I want to try to put it out there, and finding that voice. And the Don't Buy Meme is like the same thing, right? Like, to me, it's something that I've always loved. There's the craft there, but it's also about the community. Like, what are we trying to say? What are we trying to understand? It's not just a meme. It talks a lot about like what's happening right now. And so just trying to help grow the community, help grow, like give more visibility to the artists that are also not into this because of some weird articles or whatever. And I think we'll see that transition happening in the next months and, next year. So
I'm sure there are so many people right now looking at you the same way you may have looked at what Bill was doing. And it seems to be the gift that keeps on giving, where one amazing artist follows another. Obviously, you're all doing your own incredible work, even separate from NFTs and everything, but then sees a possibility, gains an understanding, goes through that education process, comes in and helps trailblaze the future. But yeah, Raf, Lady Justice on Christie's, I recommend that everyone goes and reads the essay that you wrote, going through detail after detail after detail of that sculpture, everything from the eyes to the gold to the spread of the gold to why you chose it. You can go on step by step by step within that essay. And we won't sit here and necessarily read it to people, but I would encourage everyone, if they're interested, go on their own process of exploration, because that to me, that added something to the context, to the experience.
Thanks, man. Yeah. I do hope people that try to read the meaning behind it. And I don't want to give it exactly what it is to them. Everybody can experience their own ways, but this is like to me, it's just my voice trying to put something out there.
Yeah. Let's play a game. Ready for a game?
Yeah.
The lightning round. Yeah. So you know the drill, you know the rules, which is really, there are no rules, right? At its heart, snap reaction, word, phrase, sentence. And then, of course, if you are so compelled, pause, go on a tangent, and then we can always come back to it.
All right. I've done a lot of tangents so let's go.
All right, here we go. Lightning round, topic number 1, NFTs.
Future.
Generations.
Future as well. Yeah.
Digital stone.
Oh, man. And appreciate it. I think there's a lot that goes into the craft, and that people don't realize. Everything we have in the digital world was crafted by someone, and people don't understand that. And I hope this movement gives some visibility to all these artists that have been working and creating what we all love. Like, it all exists and people made it, right? And I think we take that for granted. So yeah.
Spot on. That is one of my core beliefs. Like, one of the reasons I'm here is exactly that. Awesome. It's stunning to me over the past couple of decades that almost everything we see, almost everything we interact with, it was arranged under an employment, a contract, or a commission. And this whole new now there's like a whole new way of interaction and community development. Anyway, I just hijacked your lightning round. Sorry, man.
But like, just to touch on that, I think it goes back to what we're saying. Like, we got into that production mindset where artists now are becoming tools, right? And I think as the tools develop, artists are trying to fit into that. And, of course, because the tools are better, things get crazy amazing, right? Like, all these projects that we see now are fucking, $1 million projects. And I think, this is a good opportunity. I keep saying that to my friends. It's a good opportunity. That's why I started doing, because I saw a door for people to appreciate what we do. And if people don't believe in what they do, they don't care for the craft, they should just ignore all this NFT stuff. Not to say that like that, that is good or bad, but they should just, use the opportunity to make sure, use your voice, like, just put it out there. If you believe in your craft, why you're not doing this? Forget all this nonsense, because there's a lot of nonsense there, and it's happening fast. I think even collectors don't even fully understand what's going to be next. And, it goes with like the avatar that we just seen, the avatar war this past couple of days. It's about the craft. If you're an artist, like, use this as a tool and put your voice out there. So yeah, just touch on that.
Agreed. Real stone.
I think the pillars of everything, like, I even saw someone comment yesterday. It was like, "Oh, you're a traditional artist as well." It's like, we're all traditional. If you do a digital piece and I give you a piece of clay, you struggle at first, but you'll get there because it is the knowledge is the same. So digital stone, a big challenge, but I think big pillars to everything we do. I think we all learn from the past.
The last piece of NFT artwork that you saw that stopped you in your tracks, made your jaw drop.
And there's so many good stuff out there.
And just chronologically, like over the weekend or something, or end of last week, something that you just randomly ran into.
I think Ash, Ash Thorp's piece, the one that's in Christie as well. So that piece is amazing, but it's not so much about the piece, but I've been working with Ash for the past few years, and I'm just happy to see him make his genesis into the show. And that piece is cool. So yeah.
Muhammad Ali.
Just a legend. Like I said, I was honored to be a part of that collection and working with the guys from his side of things and his wife, his widow, and it was awesome. And Muhammad Ali just represents, I think, especially coming from Brazil, just that will of success, succeed, and just be a better person.
Lady Phoenix.
Lady Phoenix has been a big figure to try to be in contact with. She is, when Clubhouse was the boom of Clubhouse too. I remember that's how I got to connect with her, and yeah, she's been a power truck through all this and just be an amazing voice in all this community. So yeah, a voice. I would just give you a word. This is a word game, right?
It is. It's a word game. Yeah.
Anything a lot of words. Yeah. But yeah, voice. I think she's the voice of this community.
All right, rapid fire. We're going to go back to the platforms. Just give me your gut intuition with each platform. Yeah, here we go. Let's go meme first.
Community.
Foundation.
The boom, I guess. I don't think they knew what to do with everything with the boom that happened. I was a little frustrated, but they're being very supportive now. So yeah, the boom, I guess.
The boom. SuperRare.
Quality.
Ethernity.
I think the future, but more about the names. I think they have a great lineup of people who I think will make an impact to the future of just getting more people into the collecting. But I think they're just more about the fame, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Nifty Gateway.
Oh man, that one is a complicated one. I have a lot of appreciation to what they've done so far. They've went through ups and downs. I can't really I want to just put one word to say bad words, but just appreciation. Again, that's a good one.
Appreciation. And yeah, such a fun moment because we really stand between, right? We stand between amazing Nifty Gateway drop, which did so well. It stood out to me at least as an accessible drop, like a deliberately accessible drop. That's something that had an attractive price point. But even after that, you expect it to be you expect all the entries to come in, and just seeing the amount of people and the amount of entries that came in, it really says something exceptional. And then, of course, casting our eyes forward, this episode will come out one day prior to the conclusion of Christie. So let's throw Christie's at you in the lightning round.
I think Christie's. I think it's just an honor to me. Whatever happens there, it's just an honor to be a part of the show and just to be. I never thought this was going to happen. So if you ask me 5 years ago, a year ago, a month ago, I was like, nah, it's not going to happen. But yeah, it's just an honor. I hope we can keep building on top of that, and I hope more people get to experience that. I hope Christie's gets a better platform, and they improved on their side as well, because there's a lot there that can be done. So yeah, just an honor. I can't wait to see what happens next. Not to me, but just the future.
If I could share one of the most fun things, we were sending a few DMs back and forth, just setting this up, and we were talking about the Christie's auction a little bit. And what was fun to me was that one of the things you said in there, I don't even know if you realized you said it, but you were reflecting upon the Christie success and some of the flurry of bidding the other day. And you had said, this enables me to push my craft even further. And I appreciate that take so much. It takes a genuine person to be in that moment when things, you have the honor of being on such a storied platform, auction house. And then that flurry in the moment. And that's one of the first things that you're thinking of. So I wanted to share that here because I think it speaks volumes about your character.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. And it is true. Like I've been looking to the opportunity for the past couple of years, just because like, I think I know what I can do, but I'm also trying to be successful in with my work as well. So if it is in the comic book industry, or if it is in the game industry, I'm always kind of catering for what I know it's going to be good for me. Not so much about, again, it's not just about me. It's about like everybody else and how I can get my work out there. I can do it for me and I can be very happy and successful, but I want to reach to more people. So like to this opportunity, like and I touched on that a lot throughout this, it's a good opportunity for me to do what I think I can and want to. So I'm just taking it all in like full speed and going for it. I think I'll keep pushing. Again, very thankful to everybody who helped me get this far. And I think it's getting to the point where I can just take on myself and like really try to, blow people's mind a little bit and like push it to what I haven't done before. And I think it just allows me, like you said, to just keep pushing the craft. And again, I'm very thankful. There's a lot of people who work with me as well. They even help on some of these projects because I want to make it bigger. I want to make it more impressive and can't do it all myself. So it's all welcome. Like, and I appreciate everybody's support.
Yeah, man. Well, let's wrap the lightning round with this one. And in that vein, with people that help, people that you're aware of, people that you think may even warrant a few more eyes on them. I like to phrase the question like this. It's not about ranking. It's not about someone better than somebody else, but I'll phrase it like this. Just like the last artwork that you saw, how about the last artist or artwork of an artist that you saw, just chronologically, the last one that you saw and you thought, how the heck do more people not know about what this person is doing or about this particular artwork?
I have one that's very recent. It's a friend of mine. And the reason why people don't know it is because he haven't put it out there yet. But Andrew Ariza is like one of very talented sculptor that he's working on some stuff that I can't wait for him to put out there. I think Dominic Qwek is also an extremely successful and talented sculptor. He has some stuff on SuperRare that to me is just very eye-catching. And I'm looking for, the quality stuff that speaks to me. And I think those are because I'm a, digital sculptor and traditional sculptor and kind of a designer, those pieces are very meaningful. But I also want to shout out just NessGraphics. Like his stuff to me is just fantastic. And
Good one.
I think he also did his drop when things were kind of slowing down, but his stuff is just beyond like a lot of the stuff that I've seen out there. And I know he was going to be successful in the future. He already is, but like it should be more.
Agree. Someone that stands out, someone that I've recently had my eye on, and seems like someone who also gets it, very much gets it.
Yeah. But also
right.
like there's so many out there, like Mankind, he's awesome. Yeah, I could just shout out so many different names.
We've entered the shout out zone.
Yeah.
Raf, man, tell everybody where, give everybody in the top couple destinations to find you, to find out more about you. If someone random out there does not, maybe this is their first interaction with you, or maybe they've only loosely seen you out there, where should they go?
Probably Twitter is a good one because I'm mostly active there at Raf Grassetti. Instagram it used to be more active, but it's still holding up. Instagram has its ups and downs. But yeah, website too, rgrassetti.com. Just go follow and have some fun. Man, I take meme suggestions.
You've been nailing it. The rare Pepe thing that you did the other day.
Those are fun.
You're nailing it. You're nailing it.
Like half of my heart is just meme stuff. So I'm just happy to just be contributing a little bit to the community. I love it.
You're contributing a lot, man. You're contributing a lot. Listen, in between Nifty, in between Christie's, You took the time today. We appreciate you. I hope you're enjoying this moment, and just hearing what I heard in that DM, being able to talk about that here, no doubt that I just can't wait to see what you accomplish from here.
Thanks, Roger. Thank you. Thanks so much, man. And congrats to you. Like everything you've been doing has been amazing. And like this touch on the community as well. Like some of the stuff that you're doing is just like a little bit in the future. So I appreciate that. And I can't wait to see other, platforms and other people to see, the focus you're putting on getting the artists out there. Your platform is more about the artists. And I think that's what we need too, right? And it's how do we put the word out there that these artists they are worth a lot of money, right? They're worth not just the money, but the appreciation and the fame as well. So appreciate what you're doing. Please keep going. Hopefully we'll see a lot more, good things to come in the future. Have fun in Miami. I wish I could be there.
Next time, man. Next time. And let's do this again too. We'll find another time.
Yeah. It sounds good, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Raf. Take care.
See you.